Who's ready to learn about percents? That's what we're going to learn about today. But before we jump into percents, let's do a quick review on 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons. 1 cup. How many fluid ounces does a cup have? A cup has 8 fluid ounces. All right, now a pint. If we remember that a pint has 2 cups and a cup has 8 fluid ounces, so we have to do 2 times 8. So a pint equals 16 fluid ounces. Then we have a gallon. A gallon has 4 quarts. And then we have a peck, and 1 peck equals 8 quarts. So what is all this about percent? Okay, well, say you're taking a test, and do you want to make a 5, a 50, a 75, or do you want to make a 100? Okay, well, that 100 is the percent of your grade. All right, every grade that you take in school is based on 100%. The symbol for percent is this little circle with a line and another circle. That is the symbol that represents percent. Percent means hundredths. Hundredths. Remember, so notice I underlined the THS. It's the decimal place, the 2 places past the decimal. All right, so the hundredths place. We want to take percent out of 100 because we want to make a 100 on our spelling test and definitely on our math test. All right, so we want everything taken out of 100. Again, the symbol, what represents it, is the little circle with a diagonal and a circle. All right, that is a percent sign. So let's figure this out. Notice we have 6 100ths. We have seen 6 100ths before as a fraction. We've learned to write the fraction as a decimal, 0.06. Now we want to write it as a percent, which equals 6%. 6 100ths is 0.06 or 6%. One way, if you don't have it as a fraction, say I only have 0.06, I'm going to take my decimal and I'm going to move it 2 places to the right. And so therefore I have 6%. All right, it can also be written 6% equals 6 100ths or 0.06. Now, if I have a decimal, a percent here, like I have 6%, and I want to put it back to a decimal, my decimal is, in my mind, is after the whole number, so I'm moving it 2 places, then to the left, and that is where the 0.06 comes from. Now, if you added a 0.06 and you wanted to change it to percent, you change it 2 places to the right, and you have 6%. If you want to write it as a fraction, it's 6 100ths. I know, looks like a lot of numbers, but if you break it down and really think about it, it really isn't too bad. All right, do you want it written in percent? Do you want it written in fraction? Or do you want it written in decimal? They're all equivalent, okay, how you write them. But if we have a fraction, sometimes we've already taken fractions to put to decimals. We've taken decimals to put to fractions. Now we're just changing them over to percent. So let's do a little bit of practice, okay? Remember, percent is the symbol for percent. It comes out of 100ths. And let's see what we can do. All right? Let's just see what we can do. So if I gave you the fraction, 31 100ths, and I said take this fraction to put to percent, well, we know percent is out of 100. Well, I already have the hundredths place. So I simply have 31%. All right, from fraction to percent, not too bad. All right, what if I have it written in 12% though, and I want to take it back to a decimal? All right, so I'm going to move it 2 places to the left. It's 0.112. What if I said take 12% to put it to a fraction? All right, that would be 12 100ths. Let's actually go back up here. We already had the fraction. We put it in the we put it in percent. Let's put it into decimal. 0.31. That way you can see that all these are equal. Notice I have an equal sign. They are equal. 31 100ths is the fraction. 31% is the percent. 0.31 is the decimal. All right, if I gave you the 7 100ths, that is the fraction. Let's put it in decimal. So that's 0.07. Let's put it in percent. I know percent is out of 100, or I take my decimal and I move it 2 places to the right, and I get 7%. All right, let's look at a few more. What if I had 0.14? This is a decimal. Let's put it to a fraction. 14 100ths. Well, now let's put it to percent. 14%. I can move it 2 places over, and I get 14%, or I know percent is out of 100. All right. What about 36%? And I want you to put 36% to a decimal. All right. From percent to decimal, we go 2 places to the left. So 2.36. Now you've seen decimals to fractions, so this is 36 100ths. All right. What if I have 0.7 and I want to put it into percent? 2 places to the right. 1, 2. That means I have 70%, okay, which would be 70 over 100, but I reduce that and I get 7/10, right? So 0.7, so this is 0.7, oh, sorry. I already gave you that in decimal, 0.7 tenths, because it's in the tenths place, which 7/10 is equal to 70 100ths. All right, let's look at a couple more. I have 5%. Now, I want you to put this into decimal. All right, so your whole number, move it 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So it's 0.05. Now take 0.05 and put it in fraction. 5 100ths. All right, now 0.01. Put this for me in percent. Take your decimal, move it 2 places to the right, and I have 1%. Or, if I'm going to put it in fraction, I have 1/100ths. Now, let's see if we can figure this out a little bit. I have a pink pen. I'll make sure they're different for you. Let's see, the red shows up pretty good. Red or pink? Let's do red and blue. So say I have Say I have 3 red dots and 2 blue dots, and I wanted to put this into percent of my red dots. Well, I have 3. How many total do I have? 5. Now, I get 3/5. Here in a minute, we're going to show you some fractions that you really got to learn to keep these percentages in your mind. But again, what did I say percent is out of? 100. Well, let's make an equivalent fraction. 5 can go into 100 20 times. So let's do 3 times 20. That gives me 60 out of 100. Okay, so that's 6/10, because I can take that 0 off like that. All right, and 6/10 would give me, or out of percent, we know 60 out of 100, so I have 60%, or 6/10 is 60%. All right, so didn't necessarily have to reduce this to 6/10 since we were just looking for percent. It would be 60 out of 100. All right, what if I have all right, what's the percent of blue dots that I have? Well, first I got to count how many blue dots I have. I have 2. How many total dots do I have? 4. And 2/4, if we were to reduce 2/4, gives me 1/2. Well, then I got to think, well, what's the percent of a half? Well, percent's out of 100. How many times does 2 go into 100? 50 times. Very good. So I get 50 out of 100, which means I have 50%. Now let's quickly look at some of these that I've wrote down of good ones just to keep in our mind. So if we have the fraction 1/2, the fraction 1/2 is equal to 50%. 1/4 is 25%. 3/4 is 75%. All right, I like to think of like the 1/4 and the 3/4. How many quarters does it make to get $1? 4. And then percent is out of 100. Well, $1 has 100 pennies. All right, so if I have 3 out of the 4 quarters, I have 75 cents. So I have 75%. That's just something I kind of like to connect there. All right, 1/5. 5 goes into 100 20 times. 1 times 20 gives you 20. Whoa, I took too many cards. 20%. Now we have 2/5. Well, if 1/5 was 20%, what do you think 2/5 is? 40%. And if 1/5 is 20, 2/5 is 40, what do you think 3/5 is? 60. Very good. And again, 1/5 is 20, 2/5 is 40, 3/5 is 60, so 4/5 is 80. If we had 5/5, we'd have 100%. If I ate 5 pieces of pizza out of a pizza that only had 5 pieces, I ate the whole thing. All right, here we have 1/10. Well, 10 goes into 100 10 times. So 1/10 is 10%. A lot of your tests and quizzes will have, a lot of them have 10 questions, and people always ask, well, how many points off? Well, the perfect score is 100. All right, so if you only have 10 questions, that means they're each worth 10%. All right, here you have 3/10, which is 30%, and 7/10, 70%, and 9/10 is a 90%. So if you have a quiz that has 10 questions and you get 9 of them correct, you will have a 90%. All right, just a good introduction to percent. Let's again, the symbol of percent looks like that. Percent, a perfect percent is 100, and percent is out of 100ths. So you can take a fraction to put it into a decimal, into a percent. You can take a decimal to put it into percent. You can take a percent and put it back to a decimal or into a fraction. It's amazing how all these little pieces connect. And that's what we're learning about math and the concept of understanding how things work together. All right. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you later. Like, share, and subscribe, and please hit that little bell for your notifications. Thank you.